Yeah, we have this low resistance liquidity. This would basically be the low hanging fruit target here. These London highs. So it would be like a 1-to-1, but we need to look to scale into this trade if we wanted to take this. I don't like how we have this clean Asia low down here though. That's what's kind of sus to me. So this is 1 hour risk. Instantly we can basically mitigate our risk and move our stop below this low. Let's see ES. ES is probably following suit. Yeah, we have all this low resistance liquidity here on ES as well. I want to see a trade down into here. And we go for London highs as a target. There we go. Got our entry.
Order submitted.
I'm going to take these executions off the screen so we can see a little bit better. Now, when we think about like, now what I was talking about before, like we're thinking about the weekly profile, right? I'm going to move my stop loss to here right away. So I'm already mitigating my risk here. You're in longs as well. Nice, bro. Yeah, I like how we inverted this fair value gap right off the open. Yep. London low looks perfect. Yep. As a stop, I'm mitigating my risk here, so I'm not risking a full R right now. Now, what I want to see price trade through this in the next 10 minutes, right? I want to see this void basically get filled and this top wick right here. This was all manipulation, right? So if we think about it like power of 3 concept, right? We have accumulation, manipulation, and now we could see the distribution to this London high, right? And this is why I was talking about like you need to be patient. You need to be patient during the open, right? Because all signs to me were pointing to bearish until we saw the market open. We saw the market open. We instantly run for London lows. And what did we do? We displaced back above this fair value gap, inverting this fair value gap, right? So we always need to be patient in that regard. I could have, ripped the sell right here off the open, and I could have targeted this Asia low, and I would have been in profit right away, and now I'd be in drawdown. And then my stop would not feel safe at all right here. My stop loss would not feel safe. So it's always good to kind of see what price is doing, right, at the open and where price is running for. Right now, we have a lot of low-hanging fruit targets here. And with this context, I would say, like an opening range breakout to the upside would look pretty good here, right, on the 15-minute. But what I would want to see in the next, 7 minutes is we see a strong closure above this 925 candle that has no wick to the upside, right? I'd be looking for price to close below here, and then 10 a.m., when 10 a.m. rolls around right here, at 10 a.m., I'm looking for like maybe a wick down into this inverse fair value gap, and then a run for this London high, right? That's what I'm looking for, something like that. But we want to see that in the next 7 minutes, I would say. Because if you think about it in terms of, this low would be could be a point for liquidity to grab for 10 a.m. candle, right? If we close in this range right here, right? Say we close right around here for 10 a.m. Coming, we could see price trade down into here before going higher, right? Doing another leg to the downside. I don't see that happening, but it could happen. That's why I want to see strong displacement continue from here. And then 10 a.m. create a small wick to the downside, basically creating like a 10 a.m. power of 3 play, right? And you could see on the 4 hour here, we basically took the low of this candle and now we're trading higher. And then all I want to see is the next 4 hour candle sweep this high and trade a little bit higher. This could be a nice smooth trade today. We might not have to sit through much chop because we do have nice low resistance liquidity. We've already had the accumulation, the manipulation. We might just see price run straight for our target up here, which would be super nice. I want to scale in. I want to scale in after 10 a.m. So I want to see 10 a.m. trade maybe back into this fair value gap right here. If we close above, trade back into the fair value gap, inverse fair value gap at that time, and then trade higher. And I'll scale in and trail my stops. Should be nice and easy trade today. Which would be super nice because I feel like we've really been having to work hard for profits lately with how the market was last week. And I mean, in hindsight, when you look at it, it's obvious as to why the market was hard to trade, right? It was basically a consolidating week. We had, a expansion candle into a consolidation candle. And usually if you see a consolidation candle on the weekly profile, it's going to be harder conditions to trade. But yeah, we'll see. Hopefully this is a little bit smoother. So we got 3 minutes on this candle. I want to see it push through here. Like I said, I want to take this candle's high. Yeah, last week was tough. Bro, you killed it last week though, so I don't think you can talk too much. You navigated the market pretty well last week. You got a bunch of funded accounts. You got like 15, right? Or 15 total. 15 total. Rich the boss hog. Mm. Hey man, you still manage risks and all that good stuff. So came out on top. That's all that matters. Yeah, I was looking at my stats from last week. I was looking at my stats. I think, I had like a 30 or 40% win rate, but I was up huge on the week. I was just taking like small paper cuts, which is fine, Like I don't have like I used to have an ego when I traded, and that's something you need to find out. Um yeah, bro, I did not contact you, Ryan. I did not contact you. You need to be careful about that. You guys could always message me. You guys could always message me, and you'll see my name over on the right side of the Discord, like the real Corey. Yeah, bro. Peter did the same thing. He had a full conversation because they get so slick. It's so silly, man. But yeah, you guys could always message me, and I'll obviously reply back. But I will not message you first and be like, yo, you know, How's your investing going? It's so silly. Yeah. Yeah, don't fall for the scams, man. It's, I don't even know how these are being created, man. I somewhat want to think it's like AI um that are creating the accounts. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's crazy, man. I try to put in like the announcements and stuff, beware of scams and stuff, but obviously not everybody's gonna be able to see it. And it's like impossible to report them, because like there's so many of them, they just keep popping up. Yeah, literally, man. If they just put that much effort into learning the charts and like applying it to something useful, be so much better off. Okay, so we're sweeping pre-market high here. I want to get in on another entry. I get in on another entry. So if I entered again, my stop loss would be below this inverse fair value gap. So I kind of do like that. I'm going to enter another contract here.
Order filled.
And then I am going to trail my stop. Just below this fair value gap. So now I'm risking 200 still. And I still want to target these highs. We're going to trade. I want to see it trade through it a little bit. So this is only 1.68 basically. But yeah, I wanted to touch a little bit on like ego, right? Like you need to be able to set your ego aside. In the beginning, like I had a lot of ego when I was trading. Like I always wanted to be right. And then whenever I would take a loss, I would think it's like the strategy or just like, I need to refine what I'm doing. I need to refine my strategy. I got to find different parts of my strategy that are not working, but that's not the case, right? You don't want to let your ego take over when you're trading because it's gonna kill you. Nice, bro. In and out. Yeah, this was definitely a low hanging fruit right here, for sure. I just wanted to see a little bit more risk to reward out of it, in my opinion. But yeah, ego can definitely be a consistency killer, right? Big time. Um, but once you accept the fact that you're gonna be wrong in this trading game, you're gonna be wrong a lot, and you're gonna have losing streaks. But you can you can start thinking more about having ego if you manage your risk and discipline. I would say that's a good thing to have ego about, but don't have an ego about win rate, right? And chasing profits because you're going to have dry spells. You're going to have, days that just aren't going to work, right? Not going to go in your favor. And that's like I was saying last week, like, yeah, I might have had a 30 or 40% win rate, whatever it was, but I was up so much for the week just because I put my ego aside and I take small losses, right? Like I'm not scared to close a trade if it's going against me, right? I'm not scared to take that $100 loss over a full $200 loss, you know? And that adds up when you keep doing that. When you keep doing that over a month's time span, if you're taking small losses instead of full losses and you're taking 2R wins, maybe 3R wins, little base hits, maybe break evens, it all adds up. And that's how you become, consistently profitable over a long span of time. Yeah, $100 a day, that is all you need, man. That is all you need. And I'm at a point on these PA accounts where I think I just want to start going, I could go for huge risk to reward plays. But for each payout period, I would need a higher profit, if that makes sense. Yeah, Apex is 90% off. I'm not an affiliate, so you can't use my code. I have no code, but there's a lot of influencers are pushing that right now. You're broke. Oh man, bro, that when you're in that point in your trading, because don't get me wrong, like I've been there, like where I wanna refund, I wanna reset accounts, I wanna buy these new accounts, and it's definitely tempting, but I've been there. But that's the time you want to be refining your trading and not necessarily, maybe not necessarily your strategy, but like that's when you want to be like journaling the most and you want to be like monitoring how you feel. Maybe even record yourself trading. Look at your facial expressions, how you're like reacting to what price is doing. You know what I mean? I feel like I stay pretty emotionless when I trade, and I stay logical about it. Price can completely reverse on me right now, and I wouldn't let price, full stop me out. But it's completely possible, and the market's going to do what it wants. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it, man. That's a good way to look at it, where you get some profits and then you just reinvest, right? You look at it as an investment. So yeah, it looks like we could possibly hit take profit here pretty fast. Let's see if ES is taking these highs. ES is not even close to taking these highs, so I think this has a lot of juice left in it. I would like to see ES take these pre-market highs right here, and that's probably when I'll get out of this trade if we don't take the London high here. Um, But yeah, if we hit take profit in the next like 10 minutes, that'd be great. I think this would be the shortest time I've been in a trade for a couple months, honestly, in terms of it hitting take profit, in terms of running towards my low resistance liquidity targets. And then obviously we have this would be the next target, right? This new day opening gap. This could be a final target of new day opening gap. Right there. We could definitely see price reach for that level. But I don't really want to, I don't want to try to hold for that final target. That's the final target I see price reaching for, but just trying to take a base hit here, right? Because like I said, I do want to see a weekly low get printed, right? I don't think the weekly low has been printed yet. But like I said, we could be wrong. We could definitely be wrong about that. All right. I do want to see I do want to see it run with a little bit more force here in the next 5 minute candle. Um, let's see. We could get that run right here. Now thinking about it from an opposite perspective, right? Like we could see this 10 a.m. candle, we could see this 10 a.m. candle run this high and then make the weekly low as well. So there's a lot we can expect to happen here, but luckily we were able to get in on this trade and target this low hanging fruit, right? And I'm thinking about taking profit here. Because we did see this 10 a.m. candle, we kind of ran without making a wick, right? There was no wick in here. We have this very, very tiny wick for the 10 a.m. And I didn't really want to see that, right? I wanted to see price trade down a little bit maybe and then continue higher. But we're kind of leaving behind a no wick scenario. Amazing, brother. Good work. Good work. Yeah, I think I'm actually gonna we are trading towards these equal highs. ES still has this high to take. ES still has this high. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. I think ES is just lagging behind a little bit. So I think I can get a little bit more out of this. Not being too greedy, but not being all too greedy. However, I think this is pretty logical still. All right. Maybe this gets hit here. Yeah, look at these 1 minute candles. This is kind of crazy. We're just kind of trickling up here. Do, 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 do. So we got this 15-minute candle closing in 2 minutes. Still just kind of edging the take profit here. And there it
Order
is.
filled.
We just got our take profit. Cool. Nice and easy there. Cool. We'll download that image. What, that was like a 15-minute trade? Not even. But pretty sweet. Pretty good. Low-hanging fruit target. That'll be it for me today. But yeah, Replicanto is sick, man. Replicanto is sick. Yeah, I'll share my screen here. So you can see my screen. I have all 20 of my accounts here. Replicanto, I just one click of the button and it's just copying to all accounts.